Scorpio, you know exactly what you did. You disappeared. Not dramatically, not with announcements or explanations. You simply evaporated. And now, at this very moment, as you read these words, there are people who can't stop thinking about you. People who are obsessively checking your social media. People who mention your name in conversations where you shouldn't even be the topic. People who keep waiting for you to show up, to look for you, to come back. But you don't come back. And that's driving them crazy in a way you can't even imagine. They are watching you, not casually, but intensely, almost disturbingly, looking for signs of how you are, who you are with, what you are doing, if you are okay, if you are suffering, if you have moved on, if you have forgotten them. And the more you remain distant, the more their obsession grows, because you have become something they can no longer decipher, something that has escaped their control, something that now exists beyond their reach. And that is unbearable for someone who was used to having you available. Let me tell you what's really happening behind the scenes of your absence. There are people who wake up thinking about you, who spend the whole day with you, occupying a space in their minds that they can't fill with anything else, who find themselves remembering conversations they had with you, analyzing every detail, trying to identify the exact moment you started to distance yourself, who feel a strange emptiness they can't name, but they know it has the exact shape of your presence that was once there and is now gone. And do you know the most powerful part of all this? You're not doing this on purpose to provoke them. You didn't distance yourself as a strategy or a mind game. You distanced yourself because you needed to, because your emotional, mental, and spiritual survival depended on you creating distance between yourself and everything that was consuming you. You distanced yourself so you wouldn't disappear completely. And this authenticity, this real need, is exactly what makes your absence so magnetic and unsettling to those who were watching from afar. Can you feel the weight of their attention even through the distance you created? Scorpio, what I'm about to reveal will give you a completely new perspective on what really happened when you decided to walk away. You didn't simply disappear. You activated something much deeper. When a Scorpio walks away, it's not like when anyone else walks away. It's an energetic rupture that leaves such an intense vacuum that the people around you feel it physically. It's as if you're withdrawing not only your presence, but all the vital energy you brought to that space, that relationship, that environment. People who know that when you're present, you're totally present. Your energy, your attention, your intensity. All of that creates a magnetic field around you, and when you remove that, the contrast is brutal. Suddenly they find themselves in a void they don't know how to fill. They try other people, other distractions, other relationships, but nothing has the same density, the same depth, the same reality that your presence brought. And that's where the obsession with observing begins. They're not just curious. They're desperate for signs that you still exist in their world in some way, for proof that you haven't completely erased them from your inner reality, for hints that maybe, just maybe, you still care enough to feel something, be it anger, sadness, longing, anything that indicates they still mean something to you, but you don't give those signs. And with each passing day without any sign from you, their fixation grows exponentially. For Scorpios born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this distancing was specifically from people who abused their loyalty and trust. Now they are watching because they realize too late what they lost. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, the distancing was from toxic environments that drained their energy. Now you've become a legend in those spaces. Everyone wants to know how you managed to get out and why you're doing so well. And for those born between November 13th and 21st, you distanced yourself from an old version of yourself, and the people who knew you before are watching your transformation with a mixture of fascination and fear of the unknown you've become. But regardless of their birth period, all Scorpios who drifted away created the same effect. You became living mysteries to those who remained. And humans are obsessed with mysteries, especially when those mysteries were once completely accessible to them. What was once certain and predictable, Your presence, your response, your attention is now completely uncertain. And this uncertainty consumes them from the inside out. Let me tell you something you might not know. While you were processing your pain, your anger, your disappointment in the silence of your withdrawal, thinking you were alone in this process, they were having their own intense processes on the other side. Processes of regret, of belated realization, of appreciating what they had and didn't know how to honor. Each of them built an idealized version of you in their minds, a version that is probably even better than you really were when you were present, because that's what absence does. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It transforms what was taken for granted into something precious and irreplaceable. They began to remember only your best moments, your most brilliant qualities, everything special you brought that they didn't appreciate when they had free access to it. And now, too late, they realize you weren't replaceable, that there's no one else who can fill the space you occupied, that they made a mistake in not treating you as the rare gift you always were. And you know what's most ironic? While they idealize you in your absence, you're undergoing a real transformation, not the idealized version they created, but a true and profound metamorphosis happening far from their eyes. You're becoming someone they wouldn't even fully recognize. Someone stronger, wiser, more selective, more protected. Someone who has learned crucial lessons about boundaries, self-worth, and who deserves access to your intense energy. Scorpio, your withdrawal wasn't weakness. It was the purest demonstration of strength you could have given, because it takes immense courage for a Scorpio, known for their fierce loyalty and depth of connection, to simply turn their back and walk away. You don't walk away easily. You don't give up on people easily. You don't cut ties superficially. When you walk away, it's because you've already given 1,000 chances. It's because you've already tried to communicate, fix things, understand. It's because you've already sacrificed too much trying to make something work that was doomed to fail. Your withdrawal was the last resort of someone who was already bleeding inside, but still trying to hold everything together. It was the only way you found to stop bleeding. And now, healed and strengthened in your chosen cocoon of isolation, you are discovering something powerful. You don't need them the way you thought you did. You don't need their validation. You don't need their presence. You don't need their love. You can exist fully and intensely without any connection to the people who now watch you with longing and regret. And that's the true Scorpio transformation. It's not about revenge. It's not about making them feel what you felt. It's simply about no longer needing them. It's about reaching a level of inner completeness where their presence or absence in your life becomes genuinely irrelevant. And believe me, they feel it. They feel that you're not just feigning indifference. You truly don't care anymore. And that's terrifying because it means their window of opportunity has truly closed. What's happening now is that you're living the proverb that says, no one knows what they have until they lose it. But you're on the winning side of this equation. You're the one who was lost, and now you're being valued. But here's the plot twist. You don't need this appreciation anymore. It comes too late. You've already valued yourself. You've already chosen yourself. You've already decided you deserve better. And no amount of obsessive observation from them, no belated regret, no pathetic attempt at reconnection will change the fact that you've evolved beyond the point where they could reach you again. They're watching you because they feel they've lost something they'll never find again. And they're absolutely right. They lost it. They lost access to someone they loved deeply, who gave themselves completely, who offered unwavering loyalty. They lost someone who saw potential in them that they didn't even see in themselves, who believed in them when no one else did, who was willing to go through hell by their side if necessary. But they didn't know how to honor that gift. And now that you're gone, they finally realize the treasure they had in their hands and treated like trash. But Scorpio, here's what you need to understand. Their observation shouldn't make you turn back. It shouldn't make you question your decision. It shouldn't give you hope that something has changed, because what has changed is you. and you've changed for the better. You removed your energy from places where it wasn't nurtured. You removed your presence from spaces where it wasn't respected. You removed your loyalty from people who weren't worthy of it. And that wasn't loss, it was recovery. You recovered from situations and people that were slowly killing you. They can observe as much as they want. They can fantasize about what they would say if they had the chance to talk to you. They can rehearse apologies they'll never have the courage to make. They can imagine scenarios where you come back and everything is as it was before. But here's the hard truth. There's no going back. The Scorpion they knew is dead. Literally. You went through a symbolic death when you walked away, and what emerged on the other side is a new, reborn version that no longer fits into the old spaces nor tolerates the old patterns of relationship. And do you know what the most beautiful part of this transformation is? You don't need to prove anything to them. You don't need to show how much better you are. You don't need to display your happiness or your success. You don't need to insist on demonstrating that you've overcome it. The simple fact that you exist in your powerful silence, in your chosen isolation, in the peace you've built away from them, already communicates everything that needs to be communicated. Your absence speaks louder than any word you could say. They are watching you because you have become a mirror reflecting all their flaws. Your strength in leaving exposes their weakness in staying in situations that no longer serve them. Your ability to start over on your own exposes their toxic dependence on external validation. Your silent evolution exposes their stagnation in repetitive and destructive patterns. You have unintentionally become an impossible standard to reach, and this corrodes their self-esteem in a way that no intentional revenge could. Scorpio, during all this time apart, you probably had moments of weakness, moments where you almost went back, almost texted, almost gave in to the temptation to check on them, almost allowed longing or nostalgia to make you question whether your decision was right. But you resisted. And each time you resisted, you grew stronger. Each time you chose your peace over painful familiarity, you healed a little more. Each time you prioritized your well-being instead of trying to save something that was already dead, you drew closer to your most powerful self. And now you're here, on the other side of the storm, more whole than you were even before everything fell apart. Because you didn't just recover, you intentionally rebuilt yourself, choosing each piece that becomes part of you again. You didn't allow any old energy to contaminate your new version, and they feel it. They feel that you are no longer accessible, either emotionally or energetically. And the more they feel it, the more desperately they watch you, trying to find a crack, an opening, a sign that you can still be reached. But you can't. You've built walls that didn't exist before, not walls of anger or bitterness, but walls of wisdom and self-preservation. You've learned that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. That your intensity is a gift that should only be offered to those who know how to honor it. That your loyalty must be earned through consistent actions, not just pretty words. That real love is shown through respect, reciprocity, and genuine consideration, not through crumbs of attention when it's convenient. Their observation also carries an element of fear. Fear that you're doing too well, that you moved on too quickly, that you found someone better, that you're living your best life without them. Because if all of that is true, it means they were the problem, not you. It means you weren't too difficult, too intense, too demanding. You were simply too much for people who were too little. And that realization devastates them because it destroys all the narratives they created to justify how they treated you. They labeled you complicated when in reality you just had patterns. They called you dramatic when you were simply expressing your legitimate needs. They accused you of being too intense when you were only offering the kind of depth they were incapable of reciprocating. And now, seeing you thrive without them, they are forced to confront the truth they always tried to avoid. The problem was never you. It was the incompatibility between your depth and their superficiality. It was the chasm between your capacity for real love and their inability to go beyond the superficial. Scorpio, now that you understand why they're watching you, I need to prepare you for what comes next, because some of them will try to come back. They'll show up with elaborate excuses, with promises of change, with explanations about how they finally understood what they lost, with declarations of how much you mean to them. And it will be tempting to believe, because part of you, that part that loves deeply and wants people to be better, will want to give them another chance. But here's what you need to remember in those moments of weakness. People don't change because they lost you. People only change when they decide to do the real inner work of transformation. And in most cases, these attempts to return don't come from genuine change, but from discomfort, with the consequence of losing you. They don't want you back because they finally valued who you are. They want you back because they can't cope with the reality that you're fine without them. You'll learn to distinguish a genuine attempt from emotional manipulation. Your Scorpio intuition, which has warned you before, but which you ignored because you wanted to believe the best in people, is now sharp and precise. You've learned to pay attention to the signs you previously ignored. You've developed an internal detector of falsehood that never fails, and when they try to come back, if they try, you'll know immediately if it's real or just another performance from the same person they've always been. And even if it's genuine, even if they've truly changed, you still have every right to say no. Because forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Releasing resentment doesn't mean reopening doors. You can wish them the best from afar without allowing them access to your life again. Some people are lessons, not destinies. They are chapters that needed to be closed, not stories that need to continue. And it's okay to acknowledge that without guilt. The truth is, you distanced yourself to save yourself. And in the process of saving yourself, you found yourself. You discovered who you truly are when you remove all expectations, demands, and other people's dramas. You discovered your strength when you stopped wasting it trying to maintain one-sided connections. You discovered your peace when you distanced yourself from everything that disturbed your inner balance. And now that you know this version of yourself, it would be a brutal betrayal to return to situations that demand you be less than you have become. They can continue watching. They can continue wondering how you are. They can continue analyzing every little sign of your life that they can pick up from a distance. But you owe them nothing. You owe them no explanations about your absence. You owe them no satisfaction about your current life. You owe them no access to your healing process. You owe them no opening for attempts at reconnection. You only owe it to yourself to continue protecting the peace you have achieved through the distance you had the courage to undertake. Your silence is your answer. Your continued absence is your statement. Your refusal to return is your clear stance on the value you place on your own peace of mind. And if that leaves them restless, curious, regretful, or obsessed, that's their problem to solve, not yours to alleviate. You've already carried too much emotional weight for people who didn't deserve it. You're not going to start carrying the weight of their regret for the choices they made as well. Scorpio, while they watch you, you can continue building your renewed life. While they fixate on what they've lost, you can focus on what you're gaining through their absence. While they are consumed by what-ifs, you can fully live in the now you've built for yourself. You are finally investing your energy in yourself, in your healing, your growth, your dreams, your peace. And that's the only observation that should matter to you, your own observation of your progress, your evolution, your continuous transformation. You've become what you were always meant to be, inaccessible to those who don't deserve access, unavailable to those who don't know how to value availability, invisible to those who never truly saw you when you were present. And this isn't a loss of humanity or the ability to connect. It's a gain in wisdom and self-respect. You haven't closed yourself off from the world. You've simply become more selective about who can enter your world. And here's what's most powerful. You don't need them to stop watching. You don't need them to forget you. You don't need them to get over you, because you've already gotten over them. You've already moved on. You're already living your life as if they no longer exist, because for all practical and emotional purposes, they no longer exist in your reality. They are ghosts of a past that you buried and upon which you built a completely new life. Let them observe, let them wonder, let them theorize about your life. Let them feel the full weight of what they lost by not valuing you when they had the chance. Because while they live in the past, obsessed with your absence, you are living in the present, building your future. And that future has no room for people who have proven through their actions that they don't know how to honor the present moment, which is having a Scorpio genuinely invested in their lives. Share in the comments simply, "I've walked away and I'm not coming back." You don't need to explain from whom or why. Just make it clear that your departure is permanent and that no comment from them will change that. This statement will strengthen your resolve and create a support network with other Scorpios who have also had the courage to make this choice for themselves. Subscribe to the channel now, because in the next videos, I'll teach you how to deal with the inevitable attempts to revert to your old habits. I'll show you how to maintain firm boundaries even when you feel momentary weakness. I'll guide you on how to continue your transformation without falling into the temptation of returning to what was familiar but toxic. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that will keep you strong and focused on your continuous evolution. This is your moment of power, Scorpio. The moment when you finally understand that walking away wasn't giving up. It was choosing yourself. That being observed from a distance isn't a sign that you should return. It's confirmation that your decision to leave was absolutely correct, that their obsession is their problem, not your responsibility. Remain invisible to those who didn't deserve your visibility. Remain inaccessible to those who didn't honor your access. Continue evolving away from eyes that only learn to see you when you are no longer there. You were reborn in your absence, and this new version of you won't go back.